The entrepreneurs who succeed is those who attend the garden even though they can't see the fruit. They trust the process and they stay consistent because they understand that the harvest is coming. They just need to keep watering. Welcome back to the Confident Alchemist podcast, where we have real raw conversation with bold women, ready to stop playing small and start building the life and business they were meant to have. Imagine you learning to drive for the first time. Your driving instructor tells you, when you're learning to parallel park, you're going to hit the curb a few times. You're going to get too close to other vehicles. You might even scrape a bumper, but that is how you learn. But what do you think? Not me. I'm going to be different. I'm going to be the one person who learns how to parallel park without making any mistakes. And then what happens? You hit the curb. You get too close to other vehicles. You do exactly what your instructor said you will do. This is entrepreneurship in a nutshell. I'm going to tell you about the 5 mistakes that virtually every entrepreneur makes. And even though I'm warning you about them, some of you are still going to make them. And that's okay. Sometimes we need to hit the curb to really understand where the boundaries are. But my hope is by knowing what to expect, when you do encounter these challenges, you recognize them much faster, be gentle with yourself, and get back on track more quickly. These 5 mistakes can cost you time, money, and emotional energy, but they don't have to derail you from your entrepreneurial journey. Let's dive in. The first mistake is trying to build a house without a blueprint. You wouldn't dream of constructing your home by just showing up with some lumber and hoping for the best, right? You'd hire an architect, create detailed plans, get permits, and hire experienced contractors. But when it comes to building a business, so many of us think that we can just wing it. We think that we can figure it out as we go. Learn everything from free YouTube videos and somehow create something amazing without any guidance. I see this all the times with new entrepreneurs. They will spend months trying to piece together information from dozens of different sources. A little bit from this podcast, a strategy from this blog, a technique from this free webinar. It's like trying to build your house by using blueprints from different architects. And then what happens? You build a business that looks like a house that's been built by a committee. Everything looks patchy. Nothing looks the same. There are gaps everywhere. And you constantly have to tear things down and rebuild. The solution isn't to figure out everything on your own. It's to find someone who's already built this kind of business that you want and learn their blueprint. Yes, it does require investment. Yes, it means that admitting that you don't know everything. But it also means that you can build something solid instead of constantly patching holes. Think of mentorship and coaching not as an expense, but as the architectural fees for your business. You're not paying for information. You're paying for a proven blueprint, an experienced contractor to guide you through the building process. The second mistake is like planting an apple tree and expecting to harvest the fruit next week. When you plant an apple tree, you know that's going to take years before you see any fruit. You don't plant it on Monday and then stand there on Friday and wondering, why aren't there any fruit? You understand that growth takes time and there are seasons to respect, that the tree needs to develop strong roots before it can support its fruit. But when we start our business, we somehow forget this basic principle of growth. We launch our website on Monday and wonder why we don't have any clients by Friday. You post on social media for a week and then get frustrated or when you don't go viral. I think this happens because we are so used to instant gratification in all areas of our lives. We can order something online and have it delivered the same day. We can stream any movie we want immediately. We can get answers to any questions in seconds. But business growth follows natural laws, not digital laws. It takes time to build trust, to develop your skills, to find your voice and attract your ideal client. The entrepreneur who succeeds is who plants their seed and focus on tending the soil, watering consistently and trusting the process. They celebrate the first green shoots, not because that's the final result, but because it's evidence that there is growth. When you align your expectations with natural growth cycles, you can actually enjoy the journey instead of constantly feeling behind. The third mistake is like expecting to win the Olympics without going through years of coaching, training, and expertise. Imagine somebody who's never run competitively deciding that they are going to win the Olympic marathon. They show up to the starting line having never run before, never worked with a coach, never competed in a single race. What will happen? Well, they will probably make it a few miles before realizing that they are totally unprepared for what they are attempting to do. This is what happens when we expect our first business launch to be massively successful, our first product to go viral, our first year to hit the 6 figures. We're essentially showing up to the Olympics of entrepreneurship without actually having done the training. Here's what's beautiful about the entrepreneurial journey. Unlike the Olympics, you don't have to wait another 4 years to get a chance. Every day is a new opportunity to train, to get better, and learn from what didn't work. I love what one of my mentors told me. He says, Steps, your first business is your training ground. Your second business is where you actually apply what you've learned. And then your third business is where you actually know what you are doing. This doesn't mean that your first business can't be successful. Many are. But it means that approaching it with a mindset of an athlete that needs training, rather than expecting to create world records in one day. Every failed launch is a training ground to show you what you need to work on. Every client interaction teaches you something new about your market. Every challenge builds your entrepreneurial muscle. The entrepreneurs who thrive are the ones who embrace the beginner mindset, who celebrate small improvements and understand that mastery comes through practice, not perfection. The fourth mistake is like spending months carefully tending your garden, planting the seeds, watering daily, pulling the weeds, and protecting it from pests, and then abandoning it right before harvest time because you can't see the vegetables or the fruit yet. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you decide to grow tomatoes. You prepare the soil, you plant the seeds, you water them faithfully. Week 1, nothing is visible. Week 2, still nothing. Week 3, maybe a tiny green shoot will come up. You keep going because you see the growth. Week 4, week 5, week 6. You start to see leaves growing. The plant is getting taller. Week 7, week 8. You're starting to see little flowers appear. Week 9, week 10. Tiny green tomatoes starts forming. But those tomatoes are still hard and green. They are small. They don't look anything like the beautiful picture and you imagined are going to look like. So you think, this isn't working. I've been at this for 10 weeks and still I don't see the big red tomatoes. So you abandon the garden. You stop watering, you stop tending, you stop caring. But what you don't realize that you were just 2 weeks away from those green tomatoes turning into red big ripe tomatoes. You were 2 weeks away from harvest. that you have been working towards all along. That really breaks my heart because I see it so often happening to a lot of entrepreneurs. They will work consistently for months, creating content, building relationships, developing their skills, serving their clients. But because they can't see the red tomatoes yet, the big client contracts, the viral posts, the six-figure months, they think it doesn't work. So they abandon their garden right before harvest time. Here's what I've learned. In business, just like in gardening, most of the growth happens underneath the ground, out of sight. You're building trust with your audience, you're developing your expertise, and creating systems, establishing your reputation. None of this is immediately visible, but it's all essential for the harvest. The entrepreneurs who succeed is those who attend the garden even though they can't see the fruit. They trust the process and they stay consistent because they understand that the harvest is coming. They just need to keep watering. The fifth and final mistake is like spending all your time chasing butterflies instead of building the garden that will naturally attract the butterflies. So picture this. You want butterflies in your garden. So you spend your days running around with a net, chasing every butterfly that you see. You're exhausted, frustrated, because you're not chasing a lot of butterflies, and the ones that you actually do catch don't stay. They fly away as soon as you let them go. Meanwhile, your neighbors plant a beautiful garden full of flowers that butterflies love. They don't chase a single butterfly, but the yard and the garden is full of butterflies because they created an environment that naturally attracts the butterflies. In business, chasing butterflies look like constantly switching strategies, always looking for the next quick fix, the next magic bullet, the next shining object that's going to solve all your problems. You see somebody having success on TikTok, so you abandon your blog to follow TikTok. Then you hear about somebody who makes money with email marketing. So you abandon TikTok and then you focus on email marketing. Then you see somebody launching a course. So you abandon everything to start your course. You're constantly chasing the butterflies, the tactics, the strategies, the platforms, instead of building a garden that will naturally attract your ideal client. I spent my first few months of my new business as a butterfly chaser. I tried every strategy and constantly changing my niche and wonder why nothing was working. I was so busy chasing butterflies that I never gave anything time to really work. Everything changed when I stopped chasing the butterflies. I focused on creating valuable content, building genuine relationship with my audience, and developing my skills as a coach. I built a garden that will naturally attract the ideal client to me. Building the garden means actually focusing on the fundamentals, consistently creating value, genuinely serving your audience, and continuously improving your skills, and staying true to your unique voice and approach. It is not as exciting as like changing the latest trends, but it's what creates sustainable long-term success. When you build a beautiful garden, the butterflies will come to you and they will stay. So there you have it, the 5 mistakes that almost every entrepreneur makes. So let's recap. Number 1, try to build a house or business without a blueprint. 2, expecting fruit before the tree has time to grow. Number 3, expecting Olympic results without Olympic training. Number 4, abandoning the garden right before the harvest. And number 5, chasing butterflies instead of building the beautiful garden that will naturally attract them. Remember, making these mistakes doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that you are learning. Every entrepreneur that I know has made most of these mistakes. The key is recognizing them quickly and getting back on track. Here's what I want you to do. Look at your current business now and honestly assess which of these 5 mistakes might you be making. Are you chasing butterflies when you should be building your garden? Are you abandoning your efforts right before the harvest time? I'd love to hear from you, so please send me a message on my social media and tell me which of these mistakes have you already made and which ones you are so aware of. And please remember to join my free Confident Alchemist community online. It's a beautiful community I created of strong, bold women coming together, sharing their expertise, sharing their knowledge, and just supporting each other in this amazing journey. So I hope you found this podcast very informative and some gold nuggets that you can use in your own business. And then remember, join me next week for another dose of transformation, truth, and boldness.